Hello, good evening and welcome to my humble model railway, Bedstead Junction. Now tonight, a little bit of a special night for me. I've got another locomotive, something which I saw on eBay and I couldn't resist it. Now, it's a Deltic, it's a Class 55 Deltic. And you have to excuse me for my lack of familiarity with such a locomotive. Now I can always remember people telling me when I used to go to modern railway exhibitions a few years ago that they all love to have a Deltic in their collection, like a lovely looking locomotive, and I quite agree, it's a very, very powerful looking locomotive. It's also, probably go along with one of the comments I made in one of my previous videos when I did showed the Back to Britain class. I said I get to the LNER. Well, I have in a certain way because these were used on the East Coast main line, I believe, and they were the replacement for things like the Flying Scotsman and other steam locomotives. Very, very nice looking locomotives. They were built to travel at 100 mph plus speeds, and they certainly cut down journey times by a fair way as well. They were built between 1961 and 1962. English electric out of Falkland Foundry. 22 built altogether, and I think they were built to replace a much larger number of steam locomotives. But that's a lot to do with the increased power of the locomotives, increased speed, and also increased availability. They were used for express passenger services on the East Coast main line, particularly from London to Leeds and Edinburgh. Now, from 1978 onwards, after the introduction of the Intercity 125s, these locomotives were gradually relegated onto other duties and were finally done away with in the early 1980s. And in fact, that's the fate which befell many locomotives, including the westerns on the western region of British Rail. That's something which I'm more familiar with. Now it's called Meld, M-E-L-D, and apparently that's the name of a thoroughbred racehorse. Okay, a filly. I think it won the filly championship 3 times. So it's named after a thoroughbred racehorse, and this is a thoroughbred. Well, yes, it is. Now, I'll explain to you something about the model. Now, the model is made by Lima, okay, and now something I'd like to say about the Lima, and we'll have a little bit of a closer look at her in a minute, but is that all my Limas have always been good runners. This one appears to be running quite quietly too. Very, very nice running a locomotive. It did have a bit of a problem when I first had it, in that it wasn't going anywhere. Okay, it's not the first time it's happened to me. Okay, and the first thing that came into my head was traction tyres, and yes, I was right. But there was something quite unusual about this particular one. I thought it didn't have any traction tyres on it, and it turns out that it did. But the traction tyres were kind of clear, and they were very, very. They weren't gripping the rails at all. I mean, they were just slipping away like mad, not pulling the coaches at all. So I took those off and replaced them with some traction tyres which I had. Now, if you ever need to get traction tyres for one of these, it's the smaller traction tyres, and you can get these off the internet quite easily. I got mine off eBay. You can get these in packs of 10. In fact, I'll show you what the traction tyres look like. If I can find them, that is. Ah, here we are. So my little, one of my little boxes there. Came from Peter Spares, if you can read that. Came from Peter Spares. Small tyres, a pack of 10. Okay, so that's it. I think there's 2 traction tyres on these locomotives, and that's all there is on here actually. 2 traction tyres. So you would have enough really to do 5 locos. So I like to keep spare traction tyres in hand. And in fact, my other locomotive, one of the other locomotives which are on the layout tonight, that also lost a traction tyre as well. I think it happens sometimes if these locomotives have not been run for some considerable time. You may find that the traction tyres do need either, either need replacing or renewing or something. A very, very nice locomotive this. Now it's in the early livery of BR two-tone green, and it's got the late BR crest on it. Very, very purposeful looking locomotive. Now, when you buy a Lima locomotive, well, I bought this second hand, it was all second hand now, obviously. So unfortunately, Lima stopped manufacturing as an independent company in around about 2004. And I believe that they were bought out by Hornby. As a matter of fact, the proof of that, I'll show you the proof of that in just a moment, that they're under the Hornby umbrella. See what's on the points, look, Hornby. And you've got the various makes there of Lima, which is now owned by Hornby, River Rossi, Jouef, is it? Jouef, and Electro Tread. Okay, so, and also another name that could go on there now is Oxford Rail also, and that's the box it came in, just arrived today, and it was advertised as being in good condition, which it was. I mean, it had the traction tyres on there, just so they just needed replacing for a decent running. Now you see it goes round very, very well there. What we'll do is we'll see what it's like running a little bit more slowly now. Okay, so we'll just slow it down, right down. Let me just see what it's like over this set of points. Straight over, no problem at all. Okay, that's just me needing to turn the control up just ever so slightly now. So it runs quite well, goes over points well. And tonight we got a little bit of a Lima running session. It's a Lima extravaganza tonight. We've got 4 different Lima locomotives. And I think what we'll do is we'll move on to another one of our locos in just a moment. I'll see if we can get a closer look at Meld as well. My solution for improving my lighting, I'm waiting to receive that, so I've got to go up to my local shop and collect it. Unfortunately, I cannot do that quite yet. I tested positive for COVID, unfortunately, again. That's the second time now, and I'm not gonna go out. I know the government guidelines said you don't have to isolate or everything else, but I thought it's probably best if I just keep myself in, which is what I'm going to be doing now. At least until Monday of next week. So I'll be able to pick up my lighting solution. You might get a better view of my locomotives when we're looking at them close up. But what we'll do now is we'll bring Meld into the station. Slow her right down. And you can have a look and see what she's like over points as well. Again, obviously you saw her go straight over the points here on the main line. Now you can see what she's like on points going on to a junction, and this is quite a little bit more sort of slightly complicated. It's a couple of standard right hand curves, so it's a right hand point going into a right hand point. Okay, so let's just see what it's like going in, and then it's going into a kind of a bend into the station. So we'll just see what happens there. Okay, so just bear with me, and then we'll have a look at the next locomotive that's on the track. Okay, so let's just get back into my seat, and we'll have a little look at it going into the station. Okay, over the points, no problem. Over the second set of points, no problem. that was really easy to control. I mean, if you bear in mind that I do need to stop this before it goes off the edge of the layouts, okay, so that's quite a good stop. Now you can also see as a comparison between the two locomotives, I don't know if you can see it well enough, but look at the difference in size between the Warship diesel and the Class 55 Deltic. That's a Class 42 Warship, and that's a Class 55 Deltic there. Now, the Warship is also by Lima. Now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do a little bit of cheating on this layout, unfortunately, because this siding isn't long enough to accommodate the entire locomotive without it fouling the rear end of the other train, so we need to bring it forward a little bit like this, okay, just so it gives enough space for it to clear the tail end of the other train that's about to come out. Then what I'll have to do, we'll have to make necessary adjustments. I just need a little bit of extra length on this. Actually, it's only about another sort of 4 inches in length on the on this, and I'll be all right. Right, so here we go. This is the Class 42 Warship now by Lima. Okay, we're not getting any action, so what's going on? I can explain it. There we are. So again, a nice little runner. I will those points nice and easy. We'll just make the adjustments to this particular locomotive so it's not fouling the the main line. There we are. And then we're just going to send our Warship round now for a little tour. Again, these locomotives were very much a victim of two different circumstances. The diesel hydraulics like these, they were deemed to be non-standard, and also I think they also fell foul of the coming of the Intercity 125s. Now I've got nothing against the Intercity 125s, but I think that these were the Intercity 125s that caused the many locomotives being replaced. The Western region of British Rail decided to go on its own with the design, whereas everybody else went diesel electric. They went diesel hydraulic, very much like the German designs. In fact, I think that they grew very much on the German design. I think it's called a V200 Locomotive, and this is basically that German locomotive adapted for use on British Rail. A very nice locomotive. Again, like I say, it's another Lima one. Very nice runner as well. Now bear in mind that it's all this have got, it's just one of the bogies actually powered. And it's only two of the wheels that are actually powered as well, with traction tyres on them. And I think the locomotive picks up on one bogie on one side, and then on the other bogie on the other side of the rail. And that's how you get the current into the motor. But there's a long wire running from the unpowered bogie up to the motor as well. I see again a very nice runner. I put a bit of oil on the cogs a bit. This one also shred a traction tyre as well. So traction tyres have been a bit of a subject for me tonight. Now you can imagine, I mean, I've probably mentioned this in other videos, what an impact dieselisation must have had on the British Railways world, and what it would have done to certain enginemen's careers. I mean, certain loco drivers found the transition from steam to diesel very troublesome, and in fact some of them just literally froze. I mean, you can understand it really. I mean, you're suddenly expected to learn a new technology, totally new, after possibly coming up and learning your craft for many years on steam locomotives. But then again, other enginemen took to the diesels like a duck to water. Some of them were just sadly to get their hands on all that power. So, a time of great upheaval did the dieselisation. I think yes, dieselisation had been done on almost all the railways by about 1968. So we went into the 1970s really with no steam locomotives certainly in mainline use. So we've got the Class 42 Warship there whizzing around the track. I'm going to do a little bit more in detail look at Meld, the Deltic, in another video. I mean, when I've got my new lighting solution actually brought into play, they will be able to get things done a little bit better. I mean, one of the problems I do have is that when I go to move in different positions, when I move myself around the layout, I'm getting in the way of the lighting. And so it means I'm either going to have to stay in one position all the time, or we could keep repositioning the lighting. And that's been happening a fair bit really. And I'm hoping that I'll have the answer to that once I've collected my new accessory for the camera. Well, I'll bring this one in now. So a nice little running session with the Class 42, and you can also see, I mean, how this one goes over points again. If we're going on a right hand point into a right hand point, so it's going over two sets of, we've gone over two sets of points, and they do seem to maintain quite good continuity. I mean, one of the keys to this, I mean, it's probably a key to most locomotives, is keeping those wheels absolutely clean. And in fact, if you're having problems with your locos on points and everything else, that would be the first thing I would do, is go straight to those wheels and make sure they're absolutely clean. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring this one in. Now it's not going to be all diesel tonight, so I've got a steam engine as well on the track too. So what we'll do is we'll might be able to have a look at that one as well. So we're looking at different locomotives, all by Lima today. And I imagine I'll be making more videos over the weekend. I mean, I'm just stuck in now with this COVID thing. Of course, I'm not legally compelled to isolate, but I think it's fair on everyone else if I were to do that. Okay, so what we're doing, we'll bring this one round one more time, and then we're going to bring her into the junction. These slight disaster there, which you didn't see off camera, and we'll keep it off camera. It's really down to the limitations of my layout. It's not really, this siding is not big enough to accommodate the Deltic and these BR Mark 1 coaches. I've already got the front or the back of the train getting in the way of something, so I've got to keep moving the train backwards and forwards. I say, if the siding was just a couple of inches longer, I wouldn't have the problem, but here we go anyway. Not to worry, let's battle on. Okay, so let's give it a go. In she comes. Yeah, over the points, that's lovely. You will see it went over that set of points beautifully, and to the station beautifully. And that's really super control. Now, Lima locomotives have, I mean, some people are giving them a fair bit of stick over here, so I've got to move them back now. So it's not the front of it, it's not going over the edge of the track. It was a coupling keeps catching on things as they go round. There we are, so that's a lovely Meld. Just move backwards now. And then we're going to be having a look at another diesel And there's a diesel rail car we're looking at next. Again, these have all got different size traction tyres. And if you just go into eBay and just enter the type of locomotive or train you're trying to get traction tyres for, you'll usually find them. This one takes a smaller traction tyre, the same as the Deltic. This next locomotive. Down it comes. So we'll have a look over the station over there. I'll quickly zoom in. That's it. There we go. Just check we're not going to have a great train disaster. There we go. And again, you see, runs beautifully. All of these Lima locomotives are really easy to work on. There's not much to them at all as far as being able to work on them. These diesel rail cars could be seen all over the western region of British Rail. In fact, even before the western region of British Rail, these were even running a service between Bristol, Temple-Meads and Bath Green Park, something I never knew. They were also seen on places like the Strawberry Line. They were seen on Birmingham to Cardiff runs. There always seems to be a distinctive smell. They're not burning or anything. There always seems to be a distinctive smell about these Lima locomotives. I mean, bear in mind that these are all at least nearly 20 years old. And I think I bought all of these up until about the mid-1990s, if I remember rightly. Well, this one was certainly bought in the mid-1990s. So it's way over 20 years old, and it's still running perfectly well. Still running perfectly well. In BR green, and these were really these kind of were the forerunners of the diesel multiple units, which came in later. In fact, these actually were replaced by the diesel multiple units on a lot of the lines. Very nice little rail car. And of course they're designed to run either way, so the driver can go in the cab either end. Now all of these locomotives on here are all driven by a Ringfield type motor. It's similar to the Hornby Ringfield motor, and in my opinion they all run quite well. We'll watch it again, we're going over the points. And that was quite a complicated piece of there. That was a right hand point into a left hand point. And everything I'm running over there virtually, that's a bit of a clunk or click over that point. They're brand new points, and but I've ended my derailing problems by putting these new points in. I was suffering from quite a lot of derailments with the original points. The points were about 20 odd years old, so that may have had something to do with it. Now the next one we're going to be looking at is another Lima. So the 4 Limas on here now. That's a Lima Small Prairie. We'll be putting a couple of Great Western coaches. Where she goes. Again, not bad little runner. And you can't expect these to be as quiet as the more modern offerings. I mean, it would be unreasonable to do that. And it's possible this locomotive could have been made in anywhere from I mean, I saw these in the 1990s, and I think they would have been around for quite a while even then. And again, I bought this one second hand on eBay during the lockdown. In fact, the Warship and the railcar were both bought pre-lockdown. They were bought in the mid-1990s, and these This was bought during the lockdown, and then Meld was supposedly post-lockdown. Of course, they're saying it's all sort of post-COVID period and everything else. When I'm sat here with COVID-19 and having to isolate, well, never mind, there we go. It's one of those things. It's give me a chance to play with my trains without any interruptions. So I'm not going to get any visitors. Now this is a 262 Prairie tank locomotive, and quite nice too, as in BR black. Some people have said that they look a bit tall as a model, but I mean, again, I think it's just nice to think that an Italian manufacturer was wanted to make all these locomotives for the British market, basically. Well, certainly of British locomotives and trains, and I certainly will be looking at other Lima locomotives in the future. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a Lima locomotive that's not actually worked. I mean, they've all seemed to work straight away out of the box. They all seem to run reasonably well. Like I say, you're a little bit noisier than some of the more modern offerings, but I don't really mind that. I'll be sticking with analogue. So, okay, maybe I can't have all the sound effects and the flashing lights, but on a 6 by 4 foot layout, I mean, I don't know. I mean, so I should imagine some people are actually playing actual sound out on a loudspeaker. You know, probably from a CD player or something. I don't know. Playing out on actual loudspeakers externally of the locomotive, which I can. And some people probably have been taking recordings. There was a record label called Transcord. I remember it very, very well. And they used to have recordings of different locomotives, so you could play back the sound of the locomotive as you were running your locomotive around the track. I don't know if that was the idea of it. I know that one of my neighbours had one of these Transcord recordings. He used to work on the LMS in Bristol. We had the LMS in Bristol as well as the GWR, and he was very much a railway enthusiast as well. Yeah, so that's something worth looking up. Is if you want some sound effects of locomotives. Of course, a lot of people are going out and recording the sound themselves and then playing it back while they're running their locomotives. So you don't really. It's not absolutely essential to have DCC. Right, I'll be running on DC because I don't think my layout warrants DCC. I mean, I dread to think what would happen if I had two trains running on a 6 by 4 foot single main line. Probably have one train catching up with the other one and things like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to wrap things up for now. We're going to have a proper closer look. In fact, I'm going to start to have some. If my new piece of camera gear is more successful, doing close-ups and things, then I will probably use that to do some more locomotives on the Lazy Susan with a close-up view. But like I say, I can't quite. It was for collection in the shops, and on the day I was due to collect it, the day before I was due to collect it. Pardon me. I tested myself for COVID-19 and it worked, and I tested positive. So, no, well, I just got to wait now until I've got the all clear before I can go and get that. So, I'll be visiting you quite soon. Now, if you like what you see, press like, subscribe, ring that bell for more videos. I should bid you farewell and good night for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.